This is What's Up Topics in English. Welcome back, everybody, to a great conversation about about Donald Trump and the huge implications of his election as president. I was playing around here fighting against the cables. And my question before we went off was geopolitically, well, now I have that word in my mind, geopolitically. So I think that, yes, it is very catchy. But one part of geopolitics is sovereignty of the countries, isn't it? And our sovereignty has been insulted by Donald Trump saying to the world that he's going to build a wall around his country, well, or at least to the south of his country, and Mexicans are going to pay for it, whether they like it or not. That's quite insulting, isn't it? Okay, well, what were you saying, Wade, about the implications of that kind of intrusion in sovereignty?
Well, actually, Luis and I were having a conversation about that. That this was a private conversation between world leaders, and this sort of thing is usually kept confidential. But someone leaked it. Now, from our suspicious point of view,
after it was leaked, then it became something. It became the opposite of a private conversation. It became something that he likes to say and repeat a lot.
Right, but I think it had a great effect on Mexico. I think people here just said, "That's it. No more. We've got to take care of ourselves." And this goes back to the whole idea of thinking big that I was trying to get across earlier. That it's time for Mexico to step out of the shadow, and the only way they're going to do it is to stand up to it. And I think this worked. I think Trump probably leaked that. I think it came from the White House, but I also think it backfired. I don't think he expected Mexico to actually stand up and do something. One of the examples is, they have great agriculture in this country, and one of the benefits has been that they've started to explore foreign markets, where 52,000 pounds of avocados have been sold to Japan. That's 52,000 pounds of avocados that might have gone to the U.S. market, but now aren't. I think this is going to drive prices up in the long term, this whole problem. For example, in Alabama, they can't get people to harvest the yams coming up. California, they can't find enough people to go pick the lettuce or anything like that. And a lot of it has come from this fear on the part of migrant workers who fear being harassed all the time. In the New York Times, just yesterday, there was an interview with several farmers from Southern California, who had voted for Trump and just could not believe that Trump would make life difficult for their immigrants. Everyone else is okay. But
exactly. Yes. Well, he has insulted... He's a man who's... I mean, we've known him for very little time as a pseudo-politician, and he has already insulted a number of groups and people. He's already insulted China and the Jews by not recognizing the Holocaust. He's already insulted women. He's already insulted everybody. What is your opinion about that, Anushka?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I have the impression that he continues to play his reality show, quite frankly. Okay. And that's part of the thing with the riddle I was trying to say earlier. He has gone around and he keeps tweeting also. I mean, how public diplomacy and international diplomacy is now carried out through tweets is basically astounding. But that seems to be his strategy, and I think probably Steve Bannon, who's an expert, and who carried out his campaign for much of the last part of it, he seems to be encouraging him. And I don't know, my impression is he's feeding to the people who voted for him. He's trying to make them happy. That's what they liked about him.
His bullying
and
attitude.
I wonder, and my question is, how far can this go without government really stepping in particular without the Republican Party? Because the Democratic Party cannot do it. Doesn't seem to want to do, is not able to do too much right now, but how far can he go with this type of way of carrying out foreign policy?
Why is the Democratic Party not able to do much? They're not majority?
They don't have a lot of leadership, and plus, yes, they are in the minority right now, both in Congress and the Senate. So if someone has to stop Mr. Trump, I believe it's mostly...
It won't be the Republicans.
I would hope some of them would, no?
You would think so. Jason Chaffetz, who is the head of the House Oversight Committee for the White House and things like this, has determined that, and he has said publicly that conflict of interest laws do not apply to the President of the United States.
It's como un fuero, no? It's like
Yeah, like she's
Yeah.
untouchable, right?
untouchable, yes.
But that's not true. We have precedents of this, particularly with Richard Nixon,
Richard Nixon.
who clearly had a conflict of interest once he broke into the Democratic National Committee headquarters. There's also a problem in general with the Republicans. They're not. The United States has recently been downgraded from a democracy to a flawed democracy.
Sure.
And a lot of it comes about because of Republican politics, policies that reduce the number of people who can vote, policies that consolidate all the power in the governorship rather than local entities.
And today there's fascism at the top.
Right. And North Dakota recently had their elections, and a lot of Republicans were elected to a majority. And their first act as a body was to eliminate the anti-corruption laws for the state of North Dakota. So one questions whether they're truly democratic anymore. I don't believe they are. I believe they are, for lack of a better word, they are the Nazi Party of today.
Regressing, right?
Okay.
They're regressing. Wow, that's really something. Dr. Luis, tell me your last name again, Dr. Luis.
Rodriguez.
Rodriguez?
Sí.
That's my last name.
Yes.
Okay. How should I?
Your brothers.
How could I forget
separated
it?
your birth.
Brothers,
Drops of water.
yeah.
How could I have forgotten it, right?
Well,
Rodriguez.
he's got all your hair.
I mean, not all. Not all.
Let's not talk about that. You meant financing the wall. Who's going to?
That's right.
He's building the wall,
That's right.
right?
That's a great thing. That's a great question. I mean,
Can he?
there's
The
no
wall.
I mean,
We don't
build
need-
it. I mean,
Build it. He's going to build it, right?
Yeah, sure.
It's already partially built.
Yeah, I mean, it's already partially built.
There's
It makes-
already a wall.
It makes no sense in some places because it's like gorges and.
It's unpassable.
Yes.
It's
Yes,
impossible.
physically impossible, but
But he wants to spend the money.
No, he's going to do it. He's going to do it, and
$21 billion.
it's going to be wow. What a
Waste of money.
well, it's a lot of money. So
$10 billion?
no,
21.
21.
Oh.
dollars.
You know, give or take.
Yes, it's a
you know.
lot. A lot of money.
Just cents.
Can I 2 minutes? Can I say something in 2 minutes? I mean, not about the wall. Can
No,
I? Can I?
you can-
Do you allow me to?
About your personal business?
No,
You're
no,
gonna
no, no,
advertise
no, no,
that?
no.
That's
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
No.
You can say anything.
Yes, what I want to say is that, I mean, there's a lot of things happening, a lot of negative things happening. But I think that there is something positive, on all of these problems, because the existence of this guy and what all the things that he's doing, it's making the world and us to define ourselves. Republicans cannot longer be mid-term anything. I mean, they are going to be or fascist or not, and they have to define in these next couple of months. Mexicans, we need to define ourselves. I think that this call for a definition. What a Mexican is? Is it something racial? Is something social? Is religion? Is what is Mexican? What's the definition as Mexican? How we will define ourselves? And also in economics, how we want to define our economy for the next 40 years. So I think that, I mean, everything that is happening with this guy, I think is a lot of negatives, a lot. And if he goes full Hitler on it, oof, man, it's going to be really hard time for all the world. However, I think that the positive thing is that he's going to make us, I mean the world, define us.
Something like a wake-up call, shake-up call.
Yes, wake up call.
To build our own identity, I
Our own
think,
identity.
right?
The whole world.
Okay.
Stay with us, amigos. We'll be right back after this quick break. What are we doing on the break? Are we playing some Beatles songs or something like that? You're listening to What's Up Topics in English. Don't go anywhere.
I have to say, I don't like that.
What's
Do you like
that?
the definitions?
No, I don't think that going back to basic local identities is good.
No, I don't. I don't even.
And I mean, I purposefully want to.
Yes,
you know,
no. I
provoke you.
didn't even like that either. I'm define myself as a citizen of the world. I don't like the small nationalisms, and because that leaves void for minorities. So I understand Mexico is a liberal country with all the things means liberal country, equality of rights and all these things, and everybody's same as before the law, and all these things, magnificent things that all these people, all these theoretic guys made for us. However, I think that this guy is making us to define ourselves. Are we going to be that guy, that kind of people? Okay, let's be that guy, that kind of people. Let's be Democrats. Let's be liberals. Let's be whatever.
It's
What?
making us grow up.
What
basically.
exactly? But not only
Helping
no,
us. Yeah.
The United Kingdom cannot be left out of this. Germany cannot be out of this. France cannot be left out.
No one actually.
I mean, they have to define. I mean, are we going to go Le Pen and let's go?
But that's the problem. I think it's
Yeah.
generating a.
Yeah, sorry.
Let's save this for
Oh,
the
sorry,
show.
sorry.
It's pretty
Yeah,
good.
yeah,
Anytime.
Welcome back, everybody. Yasmin is saying it's time to continue. This is What's Up Topics in English. Welcome back to a great conversation about Donald Trump and the implications. Luis Raul Rodriguez and Anushka Alvarez, experts on what's happening. Everybody knows Jimena Casillas and Wade Alley and myself. I don't have to reintroduce
We're
ourselves.
still
But
here.
We're
even
no-
no,
though
I'm
you
talking about.
don't
I'm talking
listen
about.
to us.
I'm talking about our wonderful guests, experts on all the implications that this can have. Luis Raul and Anushka, you were saying off the air something very interesting.
Start with
Yeah,
what
yeah.
you
Well,
just
because-
said. I don't
because-
agree with you.
Well, that's essentially in the break. What I said is, Luis Raul, I don't agree with you. I don't like the fact that we have to go back to defining ourselves, especially when it
That's
refers.
excuse,
when-
we have to tell the people that Luis Raul was saying that he was saying that Donald Trump is forcing us to redefine ourselves as countries, as a country, as a national identity.
groups of identity.
Okay.
And that's when I said, well, I'm not very much in favor of this because it generates the perceived notion of differences. It creates walls. And that's what I'm concerned about with Mr. Trump. I think that he's generating a movement that we see in a number of places around the world.
Going back to nationalism.
Hecho en Mexico.
Yes.
Huh?
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's protect ourselves. Let's
Yes.
not consume American goods. Let's not visit the United States. Quite frankly, I'm against, in principle, I mean with con matices, no? But I'm against those ideas because I think we have to work quite the opposite way. We have to think of what unites us rather than what differentiates us. And we have to state our position, but in an openness. And I don't like this defining lines between who I am and who you are, and how that can easily lead, and I'm not saying it always has to, and that's possibly
Right.
the trick, how it can easily lead to conflict and
It's
to
divisive.
nationalisms. It's divisive.
It's divisive now, but how do you do that? How do you claim who you are without defining yourself as a group?
Well, I think what we need to look is beyond Mr. Trump and look to local politics and look to state politics and to relations between non-state actors, as we call them in international relations. Think about social networks. Think about communities that work across both sides of the border. And who are, I mean, there's a lot of people in California who believe in multiculturality and who want to lend a hand. And I have been receiving emails from universities I work with in the US saying, we do not agree with Mr. Trump, and now more than ever we want to embrace Mexicans and Mexican culture, etc. I think we need to stress that more than the Hecho en Mexico.
Yes, sorry.
Okay.
Can I?
I wanted to be provocative.
No, that's excellent. But the point is that I agree with you.
Wonderful.
But that's the point. That's the definition I was talking about.
Okay.
Even Americans, they have to define themselves. Are we going to be like democratic? I mean, not democrats as a party, but like a democratic society? Are we going to respect laws? Are we going to keep the check and balances working, or we not?
Or are we losing that?
Are we losing that? So this, I think
time of
that's
trial,
yes,
no?
it's not a time of trial, and that's the thing. I mean, I agree with you. I prefer a world without barriers. I used to live in Europe when there was a really wonderful time. That almost no frontiers. Everybody was really nice with each other. I mean, it was like really nice experiment that early years in the European Union. But the point is that, and I love that. But the point is that that's the thing that this guy is doing. He's going to make us to define ourselves. Are we going to be like nationalists, or we're going to be like open to the world?
But that's the idea of globalization, right? I think what you're, or what I understand of what you're saying is Trump is going against globalization in a way, because they want to make America great, but we live in a globalized culture. If we need to define ourselves, do we need to differentiate from others in our way, cultures, ideas, or aren't we supposed to be globalized? We're stepping back instead of forward.
I have read that we are stepping back. I have read a number of essays where we say, well, you know, globalization is going back a few steps, because now there's Brexit, and now there's Donald Trump, and these are the most powerful actors in the geopolitical scene.
Yeah. No, and what we're seeing, and the problem, and my concern is really not only Trump, is we're saying it's Mrs. Le Pen, who might be win elections coming up in France, and the Dutch right-wing party, and the German right-wing party, and Hungary, and a number of countries that are experiencing the same kind of movement. That's what we need to be. But it's all part of the same. It's a reaction to globalization. I think we also need to understand that, no? That globalization has been so trendy and so nice, and everybody has.
But there's an
liked it.
antithesis.
And this is really a reaction to, like, we've maybe gone too far in thinking that we can integrate and I don't know.
But we are we getting it too far, or there's just a point of view of those things?
Sorry. I'm so sorry to jump in. I mean, the point is that every process in the history of the world, every process generates. I mean, I don't want to use the word as too strong. There are some people that lose from this process. I mean, when they invented this industrial revolution, there were some people that lose.
Yes.
All the artisans that were like out.
Yeah.
When we are starting to do globalization, there are some farmers that were left out. Some factories that they were left out of this process. They couldn't integrate.
Wow.
So there's a lot of resentment in that part of the society that lose.
Right.
So a lot of people who want to go to good old days.
The Davos conference, one of the points that they came up with, one of the issues they dealt with and came out with a paper about, was that by the year 2020, 5 million more jobs will be lost. They won't exist anymore. And part of this problem, I think, with this globalization is there hasn't been enough forethought. There hasn't been enough, what's the word I'm looking for? Planning. There's the word I'm looking for. There hasn't been enough planning about this idea that there won't be any jobs. We live in a heavily industrial time, here in Mexico anyway, but with every recession, 5,000 or 6,000 more jobs are lost. And it's cheaper to build a factory full of robots in Detroit than it is in Mexico. And smart governments need to start taking that into account.
But that's something entirely different from the question of identity. And that's what I think is very risky now. No, I agree. Governments need to take care of.
But see...
Look at your face.
Yeah, but all of us define ourselves, not all of us, a majority of us define ourselves by our jobs. That which we do.
We have about 1 minute to wrap up.
Okay, this gives us a lot of our personal value, and then no, I won't be able to finish in a minute. But basically, it is part of our identity, just as much as our nationality is. and you can't separate them. So I'm just saying globalization has that aspect to it too. You know, that it does kind of change your personality and your identity. I can't go any further because we're going to run out of time.
Well, any
It's
conclusion?
looking at me like crazy.
You know, we have like half a minute left to conclude, and I would like you to put very briefly, Anushka, your conclusions about what to do, what now.
I wish I knew really, but I think, I mean, we're in a time of unprecedented uncertainty, at least in our lifetime. I think there have been periods like this before. I would be inclined to trying to wait and opening up rather than closing down.
Dr. Rodriguez,
I agree.
Tocayo.
Tocayo. I agree with that. And but one thing that we need to do is, and I think I can complement the idea of Wayne, and I understand that, is that we need to be more inclusive in our globalization processes. All these people that they feel that they lose with this new trade, you need to make them feel part of the trade.
Okay.
Give them some incentive, something that they feel that they can win.
Thank you very much for an interesting show about Donald Trump. Thank you very much, Wade. Thank you, Jimena.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Not Frida Ahumada, but Yasmin
Arias.
Arias. At the controls, thank you very much. Eduardo Rodriguez says thanks for listening, and don't forget we'll be back next week on What's Up Topics in English. This show comes from the studios of Universidad Panamericana in beautiful Ciudad Granja, center of the English-speaking universe in Jalisco, Mexico. So long.
Wow, I mean, there's so much to
No,
talk about.
I mean, this is like
We need
for
another program. We need
10
another
hours
program.
show.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the point is that there's a lot of people that they feel they lose. I mean, maybe they
Yeah,
lose.
rightfully, yes.
So you need to integrate them into
In
the
Mexico
processes.
even, and
In Mexico, in the States, in the United Kingdom,
But
in every
do
part.
we really need to integrate them, or is natural law? Only the strong one survives.
no.
Social Darwinism.
No.
Yeah. It
No,
maybe.
I think that
It's about that.
I think that
Somebody's been reading
I think
too much
that-
Nietzsche.
Yeah.
I
Oh my
think that
God.
we need to integrate them because there's a concept that I like a lot that they in the United Nations they use it a lot.
Okay.
This like social cohesion.
Yeah,
Like,
I agree.
you know, like I mean, if you lose in a society, then you start to behaving bad. You know,
Okay.
if you feel that you are losing, that there's something that makes you
And
lose.
they become the migrants.
They become the migrants,
criminals.
the
They become the
criminals.
those
Okay.
offsets
They
and
become the
balances.
Nazis, the brown
Yeah,
shirts.
exactly.
The,
The point is
Okay,
that
okay.
try to integrate into the development, make it develop more inclusive, and that
Okay.
generates cohesion, social cohesion. Like the people, when the people feels like this is my town, they are not going to throw trash in the street. They are not going to bribe policemen.
Vandalize their area.
Yeah, exactly. They,
So
they
obviously,
love their place.
obviously,
But that's
Uncle
why
Donald
Trump is
doesn't
so-
understand that.
No,
but the
no,
world,
no.
but the world needs to, because of Donald Trump, because of his election, the world needs to understand that.
Exactly, that's the point.
But
That's the point that I want to trying to do. It's like
when
This
says,
guy-
oh no, don't be divisive.
this guy is going to make us to be fine.
Sí, hay que
Are you going to be
atender a los
free
que se sienten
people? We're going to be like, let's try
Que de
to
cierta forma no serían
keep
minorías.
going forward with this
Perjudicados.
free trade,
No
sorry, free
necesariamente.
everything, or we're going to be like
Tenemos que
nationalists.
prestar muy poca atención.
What way
Son
we're
más
going
de
to
los
be.
que creemos.
Okay.
And the way that the world decides to go
Todos los votantes de
is going
Trump
to
se
be
suman
like
a
the
eso,
next
y son
40
60
years
millones.
that we're going to live. I mean,
Son bastante,
hopefully.
sí, sí, claro.
Very difficult.
say goodbye to everybody. Say
Okay,
goodbye, everybody.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. Goodbye. Are you
Goodbye,
are we on,
Facebook,
in the
audience.
box or what? Where's the
We're no
camera?
longer-
Oh, there's someone asking, what do you think about the racism opinion of the Trump followers video?
Which one?
There are a lot.
There are a lot of videos, but what do you think about the racism opinion?
Well, racism is
Bad.
it's terrible.
Yeah.
We're the same species. Maybe even there are a lot of people who feel they should protect animals and stuff like that. Well, animals are other species. We're the same species.
Yeah.
Racism. But racism in the States and racism in Mexico, right?
Yeah, we're really a really
Yeah.
racist country, Mexico.
Well,
We're
Mexico,
terrible.
yeah,
We're terrible.
Well, see,
we treat really
racism.
bad the Latin or South brothers.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We treat them really
Yeah,
bad.
really bad.
But we're the same race. So it's not really racism. Racism is one of the expressions of xenophobia that has multiple dimensions. It has the national group, the others, fear of the others and things like that. Racism is just one manifestation of that. But like you say, if we treat bad a Guatemalan person, which is basically the same race as the Mexicans,
And they speak the same language.
and they speak the same language, we have pretty much the same culture.
The same heritage.
Where's the racism? I think that's nationalism.
She's going to kick us out.
Yeah, she's kicking us out. Yeah, okay,
But
we
I'm
need
actually
to go.
really
concerned
or-
about is this.
I feel like when you're at Liverpool and they start at night, and they start turning off the lights.
Yeah.
Threatening to
She's
go
gonna
to
start playing Topollillo.
with the-
Yes.
So we have to, like, hasta mañana, buenas noches,
lost
que
twice
descanses.
now,
Yeah.
We need to go to lunch, guys. Come on.
What
Yes.
happened is,
We're
put
hungry.
in there
Because this is very interesting. I wish we could have. That's
The video is of Jared Taylor. I
daring
haven't seen
the
it.
court
Have
to
you
do
seen
something.
it? No.
Whoever
There were a number of things that I
really-
wanted to talk about, financing the wall, the way
Oh,
that.
sorry
they-
for that.
No, that's
I
okay.
just-
We don't have time, and you want to say no. That's okay. I appreciate. I would much rather have you say what you want to say than what I want you to say. But
So is it
Um,
just testing the waters?
we should have another
Fun
show
to go?
like this.
We
Did you
need
think-
to have another show.
Director, director, let's have another show with the same guests
When?
whenever your pleasure is.
How much time do we have? Is someone coming in after us?
No, I mean not now
No.
because I'm
Tired?
I have to go. To lunch.
You know the Blue
Ed's a
Monster.
wimp.
It's like
Ed's a
Yeah,
wimp.
the Blue
Outside
Monster
his
is
house.
coming.
No,
Yeah.
but some other Friday.
Everybody wave bye-bye.
Bye
Bye-bye.
Bye bye. Are we in the
Thank
360
you.
camera?
You already took that down.
Oh, so
Yeah, that's the intro.